for joining me for the second episode of Football Unscripted. Today I'm joined by Lucas Coutinho. So, all three of my subscribers, please enjoy.
All right, cool. So thank you very much for coming on. I have a ton of questions, a lot to ask. I mean, I'm not going to take your time too much, but I have a lot to ask you. So I'm very excited. So
Cool. First of all, thank you for having me. Okay, it's a pleasure.
Oh yeah,
Anytime.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. This is my second episode. I actually did one of your teammates last week, Alex. So
Alex.
Yeah.
Foxy, that's awesome. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Alex is awesome.
Hopefully he was great. Hopefully this one goes a little bit better. I was very nervous last week, so I just sat there just saying the entire time.
Take a deep breath, pal. It's good. Okay, it's all good. We're just chatting.
So I'm gonna start. So I'm gonna kind of go in order of your career. I have some things written down. So you are from Brazil, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Originally born and raised. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So explain to me, or not explain, but like talk about how you came from Brazil and ended up to America. Because I see you went to Clover High School in South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm from North Carolina, so.
Cool. I love the Carolinas, by the way, and so much so I'm back here now. But so what happened? My journey is a bit different than most people in the sense of I was in Brazil. I used to play there and everything there. And I was 15 when an older guy that I already knew, a friend of mine. I just looked up to him at that point. He was like 9 years older than me. He was going to college in America, and he was in his summer break of between his junior and senior year. And he went to the same high school that I went in Brazil. Just obviously quite a few years before that. But he was the best player at that school, soccer wise, and I knew of him. Had played with him every now and then, when he would come to train with us, but didn't know much. Anyway, he came to train with us that day on his off season, and he brought it up to me that how he came to the U.S. and he was able to study and play soccer at a good level. And he asked if I was interested. I was 15. I was doing well at the club in Brazil, so I had no interest, to be honest. When he was brought up to me, I always respectfully, he's my friend, so I respectfully turned it down. Told him, thank you, appreciate you thinking of me, but my life is here, friends, girlfriend, soccer. I want to try here for now. And then a year went by. I was still happy in Brazil, and then 2 years later, I was 17 at the time. There was a change in the coaching staff at the club that I was playing for. And I went from playing all the time to not playing so much at a crucial moment for Brazilians. So when you're 17 to 18, it's huge for you to make a pro. You got to be doing well during that time, right? And I went from doing well to not having opportunities. And, personally, I was a bit frustrated because it had not a lot to do with me. In Brazil, there's a lot of politics that go behind the soccer, being the biggest sport in the country. And, there was a change of coach, came from a different state, brought some players with him. Next thing you know, Lucas is sitting on the bench and not playing as much as he wanted it. And I started thinking, and then, something inside of me, like a little lamp came and an idea of maybe you should talk to that guy, Manu, my friend, about the US opportunity. And then I talked to him. He was like, honestly, it's perfect timing right now. And then he was like, do you speak English? I didn't at the time. And then that's 2011, by the way.
Okay.
And then I didn't speak English. So he was like, well, my parents were part of that conversation. And my parents were talking to him. And then he was like, would you guys maybe be able to send him as an exchange student? So he could learn the language, get used to the culture a little bit, see if he adapts well. And then you can make the jump to college if he really wants to. So I was fortunate to have the opportunity. I came as an exchange student. My parents thankfully were able to afford, and then they sent me as an exchange student, which had nothing to do with soccer, had nothing to do with anything. The main purpose of it was to learn the language and to adapt to the culture of America. And obviously, soccer had to be there for me. That was the only thing I said. I was like, I want to play all year round, not just for 3-4 months, high school, not just club, whatever. I want to play for the whole time that I'm there, as much as I can, So they talked to the exchange program, and then they were able to sort it out to work like a family in South Carolina in Clover, where I was playing Palmetto United club soccer during the fall, and high school or academy if I wanted to on the spring, right? Um, anyway, that happened really quickly, and next thing you know, I'm on a plane to America, right? It's pretty nervous, first time away from family, friends, everything, but soccer, right? Tunnel visual. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to play here. I wanted to go to college, get a degree playing soccer at a high level, and hopefully make it to the pros. And fast forwarding, I went to Clover. I had a great time, great experience. Loved it. Adapted pretty well. I learned the language eventually. Struggled a bit in the beginning, but I knew that was going to happen. So it was okay, right? No friends, sitting by myself for lunch for the first 3 months, all that kind of stuff. Annoying, sure, but focus on soccer, it was okay. And I started getting to play. People started to know about me. I started to make more friends, and then I adapted pretty good. My host family in South Carolina, they're still in Lake Wiley. They live in Lake Wiley, South Carolina. They're still my family to this day. So they call me son, call mom, dad. Obviously, my family is in Brazil, my blood family, but both of my families, I guess, they have connected. My family from Brazil have come here, have been to their house. They've been to Brazil too. And I was best man at my host brother's wedding. And I mean, we're very close. They came to every game now that I'm in Greenville, which is awesome. And yeah, I love South Carolina. I talked to a bunch of different schools because when I first came, I already had a school through my friend, the one from Brazil that brought it up. I already had a school that wanted me, right? That was why I was coming in the first place. And then when I came and I started doing well, more offers started appearing, and I was able to choose. Since I was in the Carolinas, I visited most of the schools, the bigger schools. My host family, they're all Tiger fans. So Clemson was number one, and I loved Clemson. To be honest, I went to official visit there. I loved it. My parents were here during it. They loved it. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because we have nothing like this in Brazil. Like there are no colleges that have sports like here in America. Like we don't have that. It's school is school, sports. There's a college at that point. You're either playing professional or whatever sport you chose, or you're going to school to study because you're gonna, follow a different career. And then everything was new, everything was awesome. Clemson's a beautiful school, but then it was late in the spring. They didn't offer me enough money. And USC, South Carolina, offered me a better scholarship, and it made more sense to me, to my family. So I verbally committed to them, and right before I went to Brazil, so probably April, May of 2012, so like after that year, I came to America in August of 2011. And then I went to Brazil, super excited to come back. I was supposed to be back for preseason on August 6th of that year. And then I was waiting for my eligibility, because I was an exchange student. And when I came, it was my senior year of high school in Brazil. I ended up taking 6 extra months of high school because the school system is different. So here it's like August to May. Over there is February to December. So when I came in August, so when I came in August and I did a whole year, I ended up taking 6 more months of high school. So my graduation date was supposed to be December 2011 based on my Brazilian transcripts. But then I graduated on May of 2012. That got me ineligible. So my eligibility came out on August 4th. So 2 days, my bags were ready. And I was just so excited to come. But then they took $10,000 off my first year because I wasn't going to be able to play. I was only going to be able to play in the next 3.
That's a lot.
And that's a lot. And that was enough for me not to go. So I said, oh, unfortunately, I can't ask my family to go through all this right now. And then that other school that was already interested in me at first, the one that was the reason why I came to America, was Palm Beach Atlantic University. Right, they're D2 Christian school in West Palm Beach, Florida. I did not know much about them, to be honest, but the coach was lovely. He came to a couple of my games, and he was always checking on me, even though when I told him I'm going to USC, he he was happy for me, and then he understood why I chose that, and he was super supportive. So 2 days later, though, my eligibility came ineligible, and then he emailed me actually the same day that my eligibility came out. I don't know if there's a way of them looking through that. Maybe that is, but I don't know. He emailed me that same day, the Palm Beach coach. And then he was like, "How are you doing? Like, are you at USC yet? Everything ready?" I was like, "Actually, things fell through today. Right now, I'm pretty, upset, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do." And as I was saying that, he interrupted me, and he was like, "Well, you still have a spot here if you want. Same scholarship that I had offered before, and you can come in the spring if you want." And I committed to him that day, because I wanted to play 4 years. I wanted to come to college, and I wanted to be paid by the school. So said yes to West Palm, and I was in Brazil for another 6 months, just waiting for that January time for my visa to get in, and I'll be able to come to America again. Mm-hmm. So I stayed in Brazil for 6 months, just training and waiting for time to get by. And then I came to US, to West Palm straight on the 2013 spring semester, and then did 4 years there for 4 great years. I'm really happy. God definitely guided me there. Did not want me to be in the Carolinas for college, which I think it makes perfect sense. West Palm Beach, the Christian school I went to, was perfect for me. And when I was during the process of Clemson, South Carolina, other schools, and ended up going D2, a lot of people were like, D2, and you understand. And I was like, yeah, D2, but it is what it is. But at the same time, inside of me, I was like, I love challenges as a person. And I was like, you know what? How about I go D2 and make it pro when everybody else is saying that I can't? Let's do it. So, PDL became really important for me at the time. USL League 2 now. Mm-hmm. I understood how the American system worked, and I understood how important would be for me to be visible to like D1 coaches and like be playing against those guys. They're like hyped for draft and stuff like that. So I played PDL all 4 years, even in my freshman and sophomore as well, which people normally don't. And I was part of great programs: Ocala Stampede, Southern West Virginia Kings Warriors, South Florida Surf, and Tropics. And 4 great seasons of PDL. I was able to get my name out there, as well as my college seasons went well. People figure out who Coutinho was, right? And that was the first step. After my end of my senior year, agents talking to me, wanting to represent, chose Octagon, which great agency, great players, and then they believed in me. I believed in myself, and then we started shooting to the stars, which here, in my opinion, is MLS, right? The best league we have here. And I went in preseason with Philadelphia Union. I had a great preseason with them. I was there for like 40 days, both with the second and first team, and I was already close to the guys in the group. Everyone wanted me there, but again, I'm an international player, and when it comes to MLS and USL Championship, that becomes an issue sometimes. And it wasn't what happened to me, right? They asked me, "Can you get a green card?" I was like, "No." It's like, "Well, if you can, we'll sign you. If you can't, unfortunately, we drafted a lot of internationals. We can't keep you right now, but you're a great player and stuff like that. We will help you." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Frustrated with my agents a little bit, because I was always an international, like I never could get a green card. So like that should have been Caleb.
Hey.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't say. Oh, yeah, there you are.
Sorry, man.
No, I'll cut that out. No, you're good.
Sorry. What was I saying? Someone called me, and I don't know what happened.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
So what was I saying? Uh, I
You're talking about
I
your
was
green card.
yeah, so I could never have a green card. I was a bit frustrated. I left Philly and I went to Salt Lake. They got me a trial in Salt Lake City. It was already like season was starting, so it was late. I didn't feel too confident about getting signed, but I went, did my best, went really well. But ended up having the same conversation with their sporting directors at the end of the week, and frustrating. But I had to figure something out. My agent sent me to New York then, and I went to the Cosmos where I got signed. Right, I had a week of trial, and then they liked me and they signed me. Um, Cosmos at the NASL at that point, very different than USL, League One, USL Championship, those leagues that I've been in the past few years. It was really good for me though in 2017 to be able to work around obviously our coach, MLS coach, top coach, Giovanni Savarese with Timbers. Plenty of guys that had experience like internationally, you know, in Spain, in England, yeah, both championship and La Liga and stuff like that. Some big names I already knew and seen on TV. Yeah. So it was pretty fun to be a part of that locker room. I was welcomed greatly by everybody, became really close with everyone, and learned a lot from them. I wasn't able to play that season because like international stuff. When I got signed, they already had their total numbers. So like they signed me with the first team, but I played mostly with the second team because I couldn't play with the first one. And then yeah, that's what happened that year. And then the NSL left, right? The league folded, which I was supposed to be there next year, but then the league folded. Everybody else had to leave and find new teams, right? And I hadn't played much because I hadn't played at all. I only played the second team because I couldn't with doing the international stuff. So another setback in a sense. You know, I was ready for that 2018 season where I was going to be able to actually play with the guys. Yeah. But then no. So everybody left, and then I didn't have a team, and I didn't have much video again. And like it was a year after my last year of college, so like people were starting to forget about me in a sense. And I needed a visa. My visa was running out because the Cosmos was over, and then I wanted to stay here still. And then I signed an indoor contract with the Florida Tropics, the same team I played PDL for. You know, they have a professional indoor soccer team at the MSL. They're great. In fact, they're just made to the championship last night, so they'll be playing against Monterrey or San Diego Sockers or something. But yeah, some big stuff, good stuff. Very good team. So I signed with them. I had my first year as a rookie on the indoor soccer MSL. I was rookie of the year for that league, which is great. I adapted very well because I was always a futsal player back in Brazil. Yeah. I like short, quick stuff. So indoor was easy to adapt. And then it was great. It was just a short season though. So as soon as that was over, I didn't have a team. And then that was the frustrating part. So like they were paying me throughout the whole year. And I played for the PDL team in the summer. And right after the last game of the PDL, you know, people saw that I was healthy, I was still playing and stuff. And then a coach that had previously coached me for League Two of my sophomore year, he took the USL League One team Tormenta for the 2019 season, which is going to be the first League One season. And then he called me after that last game of PDL, and he signed me that day, right? I signed with Tormenta at the end of that summer, and I was going to be presented to them in January. So I played another season with the Tropics indoor, but in fact, I got hurt. I tore my meniscus in the first game of the season. I scored a goal and tore my meniscus the second play, and it was very frustrating. I had to go through surgery and kind of take a little bit of time to get ready for Tormenta. But I did. Timing was good. I got to Tormenta together with everybody. That was a 2019, right? February. And then the 2019 year was crazy. It was a roller coaster. Personally dealing with some stuff, but very excited with the opportunity of finally being able to play professional soccer in the US. Yeah. Because as much as I was getting paid the past 2 years, I was playing and I wanted to play, right? And Tormenta was great in the beginning. A great group of guys, very talented. Things were going well. We went, I think, 7 games straight win streak from the start, blowing everybody's minds. And then I had an asthma issue that I
Mhm.
hadn't had like since I was a kid, so I wasn't prepared for it. It took me out for 6 weeks. I had like an asthma crisis in training, and I couldn't breathe, and then I didn't remember having asthma because when I did, my mom used to take care of me when I was 13. It was the last time I had something like that, and it
Yeah.
was never that bad. But anyway, in training, pollen in this area, you understand,
Yeah.
pollen is really a factor, and in Georgia it was crazy. All the cars yellow and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah.
anyway,
Oh yeah. I need to
I
wash
guess
my
it
car.
damaged me. Yeah, it damaged me. So like, uh, I was out for 6 weeks, and it was kind of during the time. Obviously, it wasn't because of me. Another guys were also picking up a few other injuries here and there. Anyway, Tormenta went from winning all 7 to losing a bunch, and losing a bunch, and then you start losing. Things start going. The atmosphere, the everyday life becomes a little bit harder. And when I came back from my asthma issue, it was a Madison game. I was feeling good. I remember away. It was a great game. We won. I remember I was team of the week as well. And it seemed like everything was gonna go back to what was at the start.
Mhm.
And then obviously we weren't winning everything, but we're winning, losing, winning, losing. We're doing okay though, mid-season. And then I had my head injury, which I'm sure if you've done a little bit of research on me, you saw what happened. So that happened in August of 2019, and kind of changed my life, changed my
Mhm.
whole life. Not just soccer wise, changed everything. You start looking at everything different perspective. You know, and soccer was taken away for a year. Uh, Doctors were like, maybe you should not play again. I was like, no, I'm definitely playing again, because inside of me, I felt like playing again, and
Yeah.
there was no one moment that in my mind it crossed like, maybe you should start playing. I wanted to play again, and that was it. Just how long, no matter how long it takes for me to be ready again, I'll go through it. Then I started, battling my way back. Uh, couldn't run, couldn't do anything for 4 months, and then started slowly progressing. Next thing you know, I come in for the 2020 season at Tormenta. They picked up my option as everything happened, right? And excited to overcome everything that happened to me. I knew it wasn't gonna be easy, but I was excited. I was up for the challenge, and again, just like the college where I was like, I'm gonna make pro, even though I'm going D2. I was like, I'm gonna get back, even when people are telling me that maybe I should stop.
Yeah.
And then worked. I was flying. That's my coach's words in preseason when we came back after a little bit. I remember we had a couple of scrimmages. We beat the Rowdies on a really good game. I scored. So like it was first time I hit the back of the net after the head injuries. Felt really
Mhm.
good. And COVID hit the weekend
Mhm.
after that. So everybody stay home. Back to not back. First time doing like the whole home workouts, Zoom stuff.
Yeah.
Right, all that kind of stuff became the new norm, and um, and then I picked up a little injury as we are coming back, hip flexor, and then struggle a little bit. And I don't know what happened. I just like my hip and everything started like having issues, and then I kept pulling my hamstring, and I was doing everything in my power to be able to be healthy and to play.
Mhm.
Even the head injury, I always say that head injury was very important to me. I was always professional, but I became like much more professional and much more, of like a complete athlete ever since that happened.
Yeah.
And then to do everything you can and to see that you cannot do some stuff that you could before, it's really frustrating. I went through a little period where I was like tough, and Tormenta wasn't going well that season either. A lot of issues. I was one of the captains. I was always involved in the issues, and it, and I like when you go through something like I did, you don't really know what like however you're feeling when you're feeling at that point. It feels like the new norm. Like I didn't remember what I felt like a year before. And when you go through stuff in your brain, like I don't know, it felt normal to me, but it didn't. I could tell it wasn't normal, but like there was no pain either. So I thought like I gotta get used to this. This is gonna be the new norm. I gotta learn how to play and I learn how to do this way. And then I couldn't get 90 minutes in that season. I kept pulling my hamstring. I was out for like all the time, on and off. It was very frustrating for me, for everybody else in the club. But again, I was involved in a lot of those issues, and it took a toll mentally. Like I talked to the club, and I was like, well, at the end of the season, I don't want to be back, even if you guys would like me. I need new air, I need new environment.
Yeah.
Right. I need new like resources, even like like they didn't have what I needed at that time. And I went home to Brazil though, without knowing if this was gonna happen. I took a chance when I said no to Tormenta, but I knew what I was doing in a sense. I didn't know it was gonna be a contract. I trust God that it was gonna be another contract, but I just knew that I could not go back to Tormenta because it wasn't being good for my health.
Yeah.
Both physically and mentally. And then I left Tormenta November of that year. Went to Brazil. Everybody happy to see me and stuff. Every time you get home, right? But like I was in a place was like I had so many doubts inside of me. I was like, I sold my car before I went to Brazil. I took my dog with me because I had no idea if I was gonna be able to come back.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And that was really tough because I want my life to be here. When I moved 2011 and I adapted well, every single move I've made was to be here for the rest of my life, right? I'm still on a working visa, so I'm definitely not safe in that sense. But so far, God has kept me here, and I truly believe that He'll continue to do so. But anyway, that happened. I got to Brazil on December 1st, and then on December 3rd, FC Tulsa offered me that contract. Did I get surprised by it? Yeah, a little bit, right? I wasn't expecting, especially like a championship contract. But again, just inside of me, I knew it was going to come, and I was really happy. It motivated me again, like a lot, right?
Yeah.
Again, another challenge. Get ready, and finally, you're at a stage now that you can show what you're capable of. With better players around you and a better level, because it is easier to play in the championship than in the League One, just because players around you are more experienced, more tactically sound, and it just flows better, the game, right? So yeah, I did everything I could in the off season. Got to Tulsa, got healthy, and again, I could tell that I wasn't the Lucas in college. I wasn't Lucas at Cosmos. I wasn't Lucas at the Tropics. But for the players that didn't know me and for the people that didn't know me, like I was a good player, right? And I was again thinking that was the new norm. Play, always giving my best, 100% always. And in the beginning, I was having a lot of opportunities, and then as season start, I started not having so many opportunities. Bench, and not playing. It's very frustrated in the beginning because honestly, I should have been playing based on what I was doing in training, but the coach had his guys, which happens everywhere. And his guys would play mostly 9 minutes, 90 minutes, and then I started coming on off the bench, like here and there, like little, and then I started doing well. Next thing you know, I started a game. I scored. I started again. I assisted, but again, he had these guys, so I was just starting because these guys were injured. But I did well when I came on, and then from then on, I became a more influential bench player, which was towards the end of the season was like that. So, but I played 19 off the bench, I think, and I started 5, so I played a decent amount of games.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I wanted. I still wanted a little bit more, so I was a bit frustrated. And there were like a few talks here and there of like clubs trying to loan me last year when I was at Tulsa, and Tulsa didn't want me to go because they could see the talent and they could see that maybe at any point they would need me. So I stay there. And again, mentally, all this process is very challenging. Professional soccer, professional sports is very challenging mentally, but but inside of me, I listen to my gut all the time. I try to, at least, because it's where I feel that my connection to God is, where really he talks to me through here. And every time I feel here, I listen to it. And Greenville, I always talking to Greenville on the side. John Harks and I always had we're always flirting on the side. and just waiting for the right time to play for him and to be part of his team. And it happened. It was perfect timing. As soon as I left Tulsa, I knew I wasn't gonna go back there. I didn't have a contract yet, but I knew it was gonna come too. More than the last time, I didn't go to Brazil this off season. I stayed. I wanted to get even more healthy, fit, and continue to work, get better. And so I did, and I signed with Greenville. We got announced a little bit later. All exciting stuff, and glad to be close to my host family. You know, that's where I spent the whole off season here with them. Not too far away, and then I came in. I already, obviously, as you get older and you go around and you go to a club where you don't play much, and you go to the other one where you don't play much, and you start doing a little bit more research before you sign a contract, before you go into something, right? It's not just sounds good. You got to be something that actually makes sense for you. And then I had plenty of conversations with John before, and it's not like the conversation, oh, you're gonna be my starter, and I don't, that's never gonna be me. That's never gonna be. I'm only gonna play if I deserve to play. I don't want to play ahead of anybody just because my name is something, you know what I mean, or where I'm from, whatever. And that's what I was frustrated on the other side of Tulsa, right? I wasn't playing, even though I believed I was playing. So I was definitely not gonna go to a program that did the same kind of stuff, right? But Greenville, I knew it was gonna be. I knew it was the best program in the USL League One. I can say that. I know I'm here, but past 3 years, 3 finals, consistently competitive. The guys, very experienced guys, not a bunch of young kids. Which young players are great, right? But a group full of young players can be very tough to be around, especially when 28 like me. So Greenville definitely fell right and checked all the boxes, and I signed. I was really excited. And I got here, and they only exceeded the expectations, right? Season's just starting. We're dealing with some stuff, adversity here and there, but I have full confidence on this team, on this club. Everything we do here is with a purpose, and yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to. I picked up a little knock. I didn't play the last few games, but I'll be back soon, and very soon, hopefully, and God willing, and then we can start winning more games and be back at the top where Greenville belongs. But yeah, man, that's my story. I talk a lot, so
well, thank you. You answered a lot of questions, so thank you. But I do have a lot more to ask you. Not too much, but all right. So going back to, I'm going to go through a lot through what you said. So you talked about how when you were in Brazil, it was school and then sports, right? So Alex said a similar thing. He's from France. He said it was school and then sports. So when you got here, what was it more challenging to do school and sports at the same time? Like, what was it like being a student athlete? And what was it like in college, to adjust to that?
It's a good question. So when I came for high school, the first year, high school was so easy compared to Brazil. So easy. Right. So it was no problem at all, right? No problem at all. Like I could not study and still get A's and play soccer and not worry about it at school. But then college is a bit different. Not that it was hard, it's still very much harder in Brazil. It's crazy how easy it is for you guys. But you guys have a lot more work. So you guys have homeworks, you guys have all those kind of stuffs, and a lot of professors who actually look for it, right? And that will affect your grade if you don't. So I struggled a little bit in that sense because I was never a homework guy. I was a guy that I used to pay attention in class and just be able to answer the tests that way. But college, and it wasn't just the soccer and school stuff, right? There's a social life, there's there's girls, and there's right, all those things that come in. There's the beach in West Palm, there's all those things that come into play. So I would not lie to you, because I'm not gonna lie to you at all. It's all true what I'm saying. And I wasn't a great student in college. I regret, in a sense. I was always just enough, right, to be able to be eligible and play every season. But my GPA, I think, was like a 2.9, 3, something like that. Not great at all. But yeah, I was immature in college, and I only cared about soccer. So my soccer went well, but for others, I would say it is challenging, but it's doable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's challenging, but it's doable. I didn't do so well because of me. That's really what I think.
Yeah. So I am in college right now. I go to East Tennessee State, and it's one thing I can tell is very celebrated because they have awards for it is when you have a high GPA as a student athlete. Like, so you think that should be celebrated? Like they should get awards for stuff like that?
Uh, you got me a little bit. Yes and no. Yes and no. You know what I mean? Like yes and no. I think it's yeah, like get an award at the end of the season, like at the end of the semester or whatever, you know, like the whole president's awards or academic this and like right. We had that at my school as well. My coach was always trying to get everybody to have and I think he's gotten that actually at PBA. I think the GPA of the team it always goes above 3.3, which is what he wants, right? Some guys on 4.0 that always lifts the everybody else GPA. But I know that also that he didn't have, and that's it's tough to even say that. But I know he didn't have high expectations from me in terms of like GPA. You know, he just wanted me to be eligible so I could play soccer, and it's just what it was, and it's just how I took it. And unfortunately, now that I'm older, I look back and I wish I had, you know, devoted a little bit more of my time to schoolwork and obviously had a better GPA and stuff like that. But I after the head injury, you know, I told you change perspective on a lot of things, right? I also lived my life to the fullest in college, and I still got through it. I still, you know, got my degree, and I'm still playing professional soccer, so I don't regret that much. You know what I mean? It's just something I would have done better if I had to do it again. And I mean, I think they should be celebrated. I just also think it doesn't, you know, they don't deserve like I don't know, huge award, just recognition. Yeah, good job, pal. You know, you were able to keep your grades high, and then being a student athlete, good job. You know, that's what I think.
What'd you get your degree in?
Business administration.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So going back to how you played D2, one thing Alex also said, because he played D2 at Anderson, is that it's a very high level of playing, but do you think it gets as much exposure as it should? The D2 sports in general?
No. As it should know, because I played the Sunshine State Conference, which is the best conference of D2, based on, you know, how they rank it, like all those websites and people that vote on the soccer. So it's considered, if I'm not mistaken, the second best conference in the country, D1, D2, D3 all together, because ACC goes first and Sunshine State Conference goes second above all the other D1 schools in terms of conference, right? I mean, our conference was really, really good. You know what I mean? Like you go from Barry University to Nova Southeastern to Lynn University to us, Palm Beach Atlantic to Florida Tech to Rollins College to a bunch of schools. And I mean, our conference was mainly international players, right? And it was a very, very good level, like very good level. I agree with Alex in that sense, but we definitely did not have as many exposure as you would need to become a professional. So that's why I told you I focus on my PDL all 4 years, because that's when I used to get the exposure that I needed for US soccer, you know. But in terms of like competition day to day, Sunshine State didn't leave me behind any other conference or division. No doubt.
I actually have heard of the Sunshine State Conference, and for years I thought it was D1 conference until I did research on you, and I was very surprised it was a D2 conference. So
exactly.
I'm actually going to be working a little bit with the USL League 2 this summer, and you know that's a college player oriented league.
Division league.
Yeah. So and there's a lot of international players. So do you think that America and the way that it's set up is good for Brazilians to come, or just any international player in general? Or would you have rather had gone somewhere else? Which I know you came here academically, but do you think right now the way it is good for, would you advise other Brazilians to come?
depends what they want.
Mhm.
Okay, it depends what they want. So it has changed a lot from my process to what's now, right? It has changed a bunch on the whole process. Now you have a few other leagues. Now you have the um, academy contracts that people are like, a lot of players on skipping college and getting paid right away. So
Mhm.
things have changed. It has become a lot easier uh, to become a professional in a sense. Easier in a sense of like accessibility and like the path, right? The competition might be even harder now because
Yeah.
I agree that the new generation they use in America, they are better, and your soccer is improving all like overall. So like competition is better, right? Like certain players that would get signed back in the day, maybe not get signed today. But in general, I like depends what they want, right? If they want to come for college, no brainer, 100%, right? If they want to like have a like still play and be able to go to school and get a good degree and learn a different language, learn a different culture, and if they're decent at soccer, they can even get scholarships and all that stuff.
Mhm.
No brainer if that's what you want. To go pro, I feel like it depends a lot as well. Like for example, I told you I was fortunate to come from like a mid-class family that were able to afford my exchange program. They were able to support me throughout college when I needed here and there, right? Throughout the whole period process, because you got to understand like your dollars, your American dollars, right now it's worth like almost 5 times my currency. So like it's tough for people in Brazil to come here and spend dollars, because think about it, you're spending a lot of money, like a lot of money. It's crazy when you convert.
Yeah.
And um, Brazil being a country that's definitely not first world and having so much talent but so much poverty, those guys, I mean, all the Ronaldos, and like all the Neymar, they come from a really low income family. So they play every time for that. We call in Brazil plate of food. Right? You play for a plate of food because they don't have food at home. They gotta play for the food that they need. I always had food at home, right?
Yeah.
I was always blessed to have food at home, so it's different. And when I thought about US, I was encouraged to come because my parents wanted me to have a degree, right? For a Brazilian, the degree is not that important, right? For a Brazilian that low income family, they barely go to school. Their whole life is focused on becoming a professional soccer player so they can buy a house to their mom or put food on the table. So it depends on, like, I feel like it depends on the person, and it depends. And I think it doesn't matter really which country. I would say to like America is good for any country, but it depends to like what they want to accomplish here and what is their situation at their own country. You understand?
Yeah.
That'll be my question, my answer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I actually have 2 Brazilian cousins that married into my family. So it's been interesting to hear a lot about the life in Brazil. And they kind of come from the same background as you do, middle class in Brazil. So it's been interesting to hear about that. And they also had green card issues too. So I wonder if that, like, I don't know much about green card, but it seems like it's challenging.
It's quite challenging.
Visas and green cards.
You said that they married into your family, right? So
Yes.
they've got the green card at this point. I know plenty of friends who have gone through the process, some successfully, some don't, most successfully, in fact, because if you do it right, and if it's, like a legit marriage and legit everything, you should be all right, even though it's a challenge in a sense of takes long. Yeah, it takes money. Yes. But it's a process, bureaucracy, right? I hope to go through one day. I haven't been blessed with that yet. Looking for a wife. So see everybody here in the podcast looking for a wife.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll talk to my family, see if they have anyone in America that you can.
Sounds good.
So the next question I have, it's a little bit a deeper question. I'm not going to ask anything personal, but you've talked about your struggles of being an athlete, what you went through with injuries and just everything you went through. And there was a player for Charlotte FC that posted a thing on his Instagram story the other day. And it's a pig. I don't know if you saw it, you might not, but so it's a picture of an iceberg, and at the top it's got money, fame, success, things like that. And then it like goes below the surface, and at the bottom it's got things like coaches' relationships and self-doubt, loneliness, and just like mental, physical pain. So you don't have to talk about your personal, but I'm not a professional athlete, but I'm sure that is true. The things that it is hard to be a professional athlete. So what got you through the things that you've been through, and how
God,
could like professional athletes do the same thing?
God. What has got me through was Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not gonna, go here and tell everybody to convert themselves.
Mhm.
It's a personal journey, personal relationship, personal everything. Uh, what has got me through was God and my family, and really the why I do everything I do. And I told you I wanted to be in this country, right? I would love to bring my family to this country,
Mhm.
so I don't have to go to Brazil in the off season to see them and get them out of like the corruption of Brazil, the things that don't work, the traffic all the time, the robbery, the
Mhm.
all the stuff that goes on in Brazil. Even though Brazil is an amazing country, to visit the best, in my opinion, honestly, to go for a vacation, the best,
Mhm.
but to leave, it can be quite challenging.
Mhm.
And those, so to be able to not go back home for good, to be able to bring my family here, that was always my why. But I could only do it through God.
Mhm.
That's for sure. Because there are many times that I just didn't have it in me anymore, and somehow the next morning I woke up and I had it in me,
Yeah.
and it wasn't me, it was God. So that's my
Great.
answer, 100%.
Great answer. Great answer. Um. So moving more into the like middle of your career so far. So when you played indoor, professional indoor, what was different about that? Like what? Like I didn't even know we had professional indoor in America. I really didn't. Um.
Yeah, it's called Major Arena Soccer League, MASL. Check it out
Mhm.
later. It's actually very interesting. Maybe you should watch the championship. That's gonna be really good, in
Yeah,
fact, and it should
I
be
love
soon in a
indoor
couple weeks.
soccer. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, check it out. And what was different besides the game, right? It's very different. It's basically, for the people that don't know, it's similar to hockey and a
Mhm.
mix of hockey and futsal, I
Mhm.
guess. It's on a turf, but has walls. That's why I mentioned the hockey, right? Subs is on the fly, and game is super fast, like crazy. You go through like 45 to a minute and a half shifts in and out all the time, rotating. So it's very intense, right? It's completely different, the game. Uh, but what was most different to me in between those two, besides the game, was like first of all, it doesn't take a toll as much physically, right? Like we
Mhm.
play back-to-back games on indoor, so we play on a Friday and a Saturday, sometimes on Friday and Sunday, and your body can handle, like, you're really tired that day because you sprinted a lot, right? But then you recover next day, you're fine, you're ready to sprint again, because it's not like you're doing like 8 miles, 9 miles, 10 miles. You're doing like a short amount, just fast. And that's one thing. And also the whole atmosphere about it, like the pressure, the pressure on outdoor is much bigger. The yeah, the fans. Like, you kind of go to an indoor game, you see the fans just having fun. A lot of families, a lot of kids, and
Yeah.
it's just like entertainment. They don't really care much about soccer. And when you go outdoors, it's different. And I wanted that. I wanted the outdoor. I like the pressure. I like the, the like the culture of the soccer instead of the indoor. I didn't really like the indoor in that sense. I wanted
Mhm.
out because of that. The game was super fun, but I mean, I'm making a living off this. Fun is part of it, right? I have fun playing soccer, but there are other things that I have to consider. Like the longevity. Like, I still can play indoor once I'm done with soccer.
Mhm.
Because like indoor, you see players playing to 40, 42, 43, 44, because it's so static in a sense, right? It's not like
Yeah.
the 8, 9, 10 miles that you cannot give it at that age. So I hope to come back to indoor one day. I think I will too, but right now outdoor is it for me.
Yeah. So when you were done playing indoor, what was it like going from indoor to playing outdoor? What was it? Did you notice like you played a little bit faster, or like was it physically more challenging when you got back, or like what was different about it?
Yeah, physically more challenging. You mentioned that. I agree with that. I had to readapt because again, I was super fit for indoor. I could do what I told you I could, but play back to back all the time, and my body was fine. But then to go back outdoor, I needed to prepare myself physically.
Yeah.
But it was a jump that I had done previously. So like I went from playing futsal in Brazil a lot to outdoor. So I did both a lot. In Brazil from like 15 to 18, I was doing both. So I was always having to adapt. So I was used to that. And when I was with the tropics, um, I had been playing only soccer for the last 6 years before that, maybe 7, and so outdoors was already ingrained in me more than before because I started my life playing futsal. And I went to the outdoor when I was 15. So I played futsal from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 15. And 15, I started doing both. So I had to adapt to soccer from futsal, which was my norm, right? And then I've kind of flipped that later. Soccer became my norm, and the indoor was just like the adapting. But the adapting to indoor was so easy. And to go back to outdoor, since I was doing tropics indoor, tropics PDL, and tropics indoor, and then Tormenta professional League One, like I was always doing both in a sense. I used to play some of the leagues too in Florida, so it wasn't that challenging, but it can be, and I was definitely, I don't know if I was faster or quicker. I don't think I was actually. I was just adapting back to the game, to the tactics, more than anything, the movement.
So being at Greenville now, and you talked about their recent success in the last few years, and you guys are what, 3 games in the regular season? Am I right?
Yeah, so League One, yes.
Yeah.
3
Okay.
games in, 1 point.
3 games. So 1 point, but you scored this. Your team scored the same amount of goals in those 3 games as they did against Charlotte, which is an MLS team. What was there? You didn't play, did you? I didn't think you did.
No, I didn't play the last 2 of the league. No,
or
Charlotte either. Last 3.
Yeah. So what did you think was different about playing Charlotte than the other USL games? Because I watched the game and your team played great up until like that last little gasp where they scored that goal. But what do you think was different about that game?
First of all, I mentioned before talking to you, we're dealing with some adversity, like injuries here and there, some guys not being eligible yet, waiting visa here. And that always happens in early in the season. We're not looking too much at the points, at the wins, like performance right now. We're trying to look at that performance. The difference, I think, between the Charlotte and the other 2 games is the mental aspect, right? The guys rised up to the occasion on the MLS. They were all thinking about that game, and an opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for us at League One to play an MLS side at home. The environment, had like record attendance here at Greenville that night. It was a great atmosphere, and I think that plays a huge part into like the performance of the guys. And obviously that's something that I'm saying that, but I'm not saying that's okay. I'm saying that, and I'm saying that that's something that is why, in my opinion, and that's something that we definitely need to work on so that doesn't happen anymore. Because we clearly showed against Charlotte that we can play to a level even without me or without the other guys, because all of us have been injured through the whole period, to the same period. So like none of us played against Charlotte, none of us played against North Carolina, and none of us played against Tormenta this past weekend, right? And so to me, the difference was that. But again, fully confident in this group, and things are gonna change soon.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching the game. I told Alex this. I'm definitely in the next month. Hopefully, I'm gonna come and see a Greenville home game.
Yeah, bro, that'll be great. Let us know.
So, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. So Greenville, we could see like it was a sold out stadium, and the MLS is growing. The numbers going up every year. The USL is growing. USL League One is growing. What do you think? And what do you think this system will be like in the next few years? Because you have been around, you're involved in it. What do you think the USL and the MLS system will be like in the next 10 years?
Caleb, like I don't fully know. I'm gonna I'm gonna give my best educated guess here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna guess it. It's because, for example, I wasn't expecting this MLS Next Pro, for example, right? This league that they created out of the blue. Nobody was. So they're taking a bunch of the right. So like when things like that starting to happen, and the reason behind it is kind of obvious. I'm not even gonna get too much into it. It's tough because in America it's unlike everywhere else in the world. There's the promotion relegation, and it felt like that things were going in a direction that we could see that in 5-10 years, maybe even from MLS to USL Championship to USL League One, and kind of getting all that together. But with the creation of MLS Next Pro, it really seems like MLS is willing to stay separately, not get involved at all with the championship. I don't know if that's gonna delay a little bit the promotion relegation process that USL I know they were trying to do, because when I start League One, and every year almost we have like beginning of the year meetings, and the USL president or someone comes to speak to us, and that's always a hot topic, the whole promotion and relegation system, that they're trying to implement eventually. But I don't know. I hope that eventually we see that, even if not MLS can stay separately. At least the USL Championship and League One can somehow get that going, and like even out like the number of teams. Right now, at the end of the day, like Championship has 30 something teams. We have only 11, if I'm not mistaken, 10. And so I have a few doubts, but I like my guess. It's gonna be MLS gonna stay MLS. Next Pro is still gonna be there, producing talents for MLS so they can sell it to Europe, and make money. I think that even with that, USL is growing so much and has consolidated itself to a point that there will be a promotion relegation in the next 5 to 10 years between the two leagues. I think the purpose of USL League Two, it's like I think it was more important in my time, you know what I mean? When like exactly we needed that visibility to go to drafts and stuff like that, and to be able to make it to the pros. So I don't know if they're gonna continue to do that. I think they will, but like they talk about having college season all year round, right? So I feel like if they do get that going with NCAA, that might affect the League Two as well, because I feel like League Two now is important to get the guys playing for longer at a decent level. And to get that exposure as well. But like if they do college all year round, I feel like especially D1 programs, some guys are not going to play PDL at all, like League Two. And then I don't know if that's going to lose strength to that league itself. So I don't know. My guess, it will be that there will be no new leagues. They will all be there, all be the same leagues, and it's going to be very similar, but promotion relegation in the USL system. Yeah, that's my guess.
That's what I'm hoping for. I think that's what a lot of people are hoping for. I actually talked to someone the other day who lives in Denmark, and he was just blown away that we don't have promotion relegation here. I told him, hopefully, I think this country has a good thing going, but I think that if they add that, I think there will be a new level of competitiveness, and I think that would be great for viewership and stuff. But
I agree.
We've been going for a while, so I'm going to wrap it up with an easy question for you. I've asked you a lot of hard questions, but talk about, you're from Brazil, which is the footballing capital of the world. Who is your favorite player? Who was your favorite player growing up or now?
So I'm going to tell you who is my favorite player of all times. Is Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi. He's the best player to ever play the game, and I'll fight anybody for it. I'm kidding. But no, even being Brazilian, and the rivalry between Brazil and Argentina, Messi is the best player to ever step foot in this planet, in my opinion. With all respect to even Pelé, different eras, different game. Pelé was amazing, and maybe he was gonna still be the best if he came nowadays. But I didn't see it myself, and I'm gonna stick with Messi. Right. With that being said, though, best player ever, Messi. My idol, the player I look up the most, and he's Brazilian, because and that was growing up. I saw Brazil being Tetra and Penta, which is like 4th and 5th time World Cup champions, and he was there both times. And he was obviously the figure on the 5th time, the 2002. So Ronaldo, R9, the OG Ronaldo is my guy. You know, to be able to battle his knee injuries back in that day with how I was, and come out the way he did. And like I've read many testimonies from him, many interviews, many podcasts, and I love the guy. You know, he's my idol. But
great answer.
Messi is the best soccer player ever.
Well,
easy, man. Easy.
See what everyone thinks about that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's me.
Yeah.
And I think most people in the whole world do agree with me. But
oh yeah, you're definitely not in a small crowd. That's for sure.
No.
All right.
Messi, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Caleb, thank you, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Anytime, okay? I hope to see you at Greenville game soon.
Okay? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you will, for sure. Yeah.
And all the best for you. For congratulations at League 2 stuff as well. It's great. It's great. Probably going to be a great experience for you, no doubt. I know many guys that actually have worked to the League 2, you know, and now they're working at professional clubs, at the media or the whatever, you know, capacity they were at. So hope to see you at the professional game sometime. Okay?
Yeah. All right, thank you. I look forward to watching you this season. So I'll definitely be watching a lot of games. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Have a good day, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, you too.